All right, big round of applause, Carl Taylor. Thank you.
Awesome. A little disappointed I didn't get the standing ovation the second time. You're letting me down, guys. Oh,
Yep.
thank you.
Carl Taylor.
Is that the pity standing ovation? Yeah, cool. All right. So, it's like 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Thursday. We've got, some of you at least, we're going out to dinner and drinks, and I know I'm standing between food and alcohol. It's never a fun time as a speaker. So I thought we'd make it a bit light and practical, because I really wanted to drive this home. And so what we're going to focus on is the process section, to really bring some of that clarity between and hopefully answer that question of what's the difference between a process and a procedure. Let's just jump right in it. So you'll notice on your tables, you should have some Post-it notes. Everyone got some Post-it notes? There should be 3 different Post-it notes, different colors, different sizes. And you're going to be using these. You guys are going to be doing a bit of an exercise. And you're going to work as a team at your table. So whoever's at your table, turn to them and go, "Hey, team." Awesome. And so what we're going to do is we are going to build a process. You guys are going to map out a process. And let me just give you, I stole it from your table, right? Let me make sure I remember that. Let me kind of show you what I mean and how we're going to do this. So we're going to all build the exact same process. And the reason we're going to do that is I want to make it simple for you. But this will be the interesting part. Even though you're building the exact same process, I think the process will be different per group. So basically, I want you to pick one person in your group. Everyone just pick one person in the group. They're going to be the source for this project, right? This process. And so the process we're creating is the process of waking up and going to the office. Okay? So, yeah, if you work at home or where you work, this is why you're going to use the sources to purse who is, whether they work from home or whether you're going to an actual office. And so let's talk about process. A process always has 2 things. To start any process, you need 2 things. How many things? 2. Thank you. 2. We need a starting point. All right, we need a starting point. And a finish point. Where does this process end? What's the result? Where does it get us to? Right? A starting point and a finishing point. And so, along the way of a process, so if we go, okay, let's pretend, for example, for me, my starting point was Avalon, Sydney, to coming to Wollongong. My finishing point was CBD, Centro, Wollongong. What happened in between? I drove. Yeah, traffic. Were there some potentially different routes I could have gone to get here? Yeah. In your business, if you said, "Hey, this is where you are, this is where you need to end up," could your staff and different people get to the same result but follow a whole bunch of different ways to get there? Maybe miss some things that they were supposed to do along the way. So the process, if you remember, was at the top, which was which part? What was the top part of the quadrants? It was the bird's eye view, right? It was the what. It was the what. And so this is about giving them that map, the driver's map of going, all right, I'm starting here, so I'm starting in Avalon, Sydney, and I need to get to CBD Centro. And so you've got these 3 different things. Let me explain what the different ones are. So the bigger ones, the big square ones, I don't know if are they all the same color? Do we all have the exact same color? All right, so it's the purple one then. It's the one that's more of a rectangle. This is an action that needs to be taken. So somewhere along the line, I had to get in car. Or maybe we could even just chunk it up and just say drive. Yeah? we also have this pink one. And when you put this pink one in, you're going to be putting it on an angle. So it's like a diamond. And this diamond is what's known as a decision diamond. This is a decision point. So, I have to drive. There was probably a decision of which way I go. Right? Do I go through the tunnel or did I go over Carl Expressway? For those who know Sydney. Over the bridge or in the tunnel? Which way did I do it? That's a decision point. Yeah? So, and then we have this little blue one, and this is a resource. A resource. And so for me, I got a coffee. So a coffee was a bit of a resource to make sure that I stayed awake on the long drive. Everyone clear on what each little piece signifies? We have an action, we have a decision, and we have a resource. Yeah, any questions on what these actually mean? No? Awesome. So, how would we put this together? Well, let's see. I started in Avalon, Sydney. My first thing was I was going to... Well, actually, the first thing I didn't make a decision. My first thing was... well, actually, no, we could say a decision. You're right. Sorry. Do I need coffee? Right? Do I need coffee? Question mark. Yes, I decided. So then what happens on a decision is that it can always go a couple of different ways. It's like, yes, I do need coffee. So then there would be an action, right, of get coffee. Make sense? If the answer is no, it would be an action of get in car and drive, right? Get in car. Now, I don't want to use up all of these guys' things, so I'm not going to keep mapping it out. And along the way, as I go, it's like, well, when I get to the bridge, it would be like, which way will I go over the bridge or under the tunnel? Are we going under the tunnel? What happens next? What's the action? Is there a resource? So if remember the packages, is there a resource required for this, or is there a resource available, right? So choosing which way, the resource might have been Google Maps. Using Google Maps on my iPhone, which I actually did. I forgot to turn off at one point, so all of a sudden I had to ask Google. I had to use Siri and go, Siri, directions to Wollongong, and then it helped redirect me and put me back on path. Is this making sense? So what you guys are going to do together in your groups, and you're going to stand up, and my suggestion, you're not going to be able to draw the arrows. That's the only thing that's not going to work. So you're going to, maybe on a piece of paper, just know which your arrows are. But you're going to stand up, and you're going to choose a spot on the wall, on the mirrors, wherever you want to do. And you're going to map out, using these, the process of your starting point is wake up. Okay, your starting point is going to be wake up, and your finishing point is start work. Is that clear? Your starting point is wake up, your end point is start work. And the key thing with a process is you always want to break them up. So something like this, you might go, oh, wake up to start work. Why wouldn't we go all the way through to the end of the day? No, because when you start work, that's the start of a whole new process. That might be the morning session is one process. Right? Now we're being a bit fun here, and we're making it going to be, you're going to have a chance to be a bit creative and talk about what your steps are, and even add some things that maybe aren't really going on in your life. I don't care. Have some fun with it. But it's about getting the logical thinking process. What happens? When is there a decision point? What's that decision about? What are the different options? A decision point could send you off in 3-4 different directions depending on the decision. Using resources to help with this. Right? If you brush your teeth, a resource might be toothpaste, toothbrush. everything that would go on. So if part of your subject, the person you picked, is like the source, if part of their day is to get their kids off to school and stuff, that's going to be part of or it could be, are the kids awake? That might be a decision. Have some fun with it, map it out, get clear in the logic, all right? So what I want you to do, I'm going to be walking around. You can ask if you get kind of stuck or you're confused, get stuck, but come and reach out. But use your different pads, claim a spot that you're going to have some wall space. Some of you might be really simple. Some of you might have quite a lot. If you really want to, you can probably grab a sheet of paper, but we wouldn't be able to put that on the wall because it's not sticky. So, but this is the process, right? If you're starting, now I use computer programs and stuff because I find it easier. I use a tool called Lucid Charts. That's how I kind of map out processes. But if you're more pen and paper, tactile type person, how much did these cost? Out of interest, do you know? Wouldn't have cost very much, right? To go down to Officeworks, grab some of these, and the benefit of using either a digital tool or some stickies as opposed to starting on a piece of paper and drawing it, what happens if you make a mistake? What if you go, oh, actually, this really should be a step there? All you got to do is pick it up, move it. Yeah, pick up the little sticky and move it to a different place. And allows you to just overview, step back, and see what the processes are. But, yeah? All right, you guys, your time starts now. Pick a spot, get started, have some fun with it, and then we'll reconvene and we'll take a look at some of what you come up with. So, that was a bit of fun to demonstrate how simple and even fun creating systems in your business can be. All you need to do when you're creating a process is know what the starting point of this process is. What's like the trigger? What triggers this process to start? And where does this process end? Termination point for the process. And usually the termination point of the process is possibly the starting trigger of another process. And then it's just a matter of filling the gaps with actions, decisions, and resources. Now, a whole bunch of you, or pretty well all of you, your resources were very tangible things, like the dog and things like that, and toothpaste, etc. Now, in your business, it doesn't need to be like that. The resources are going to be more of the packages. Do you remember we talked about the how was the packages? It might be the template or the policy. So one of the key things, if you remember in the last session we talked about, was like, oh, well, how do they know that the policy even exists, is there? Because the process tells them. There'll be a decision point. Is this on policy? Possibly. Or it might be an action is check the policy. Resource is XYZ policy. Right? So if you had a process that was about processing a refund, the triggering point might be customer asked for a refund. And then there might actually be two termination points. There is customer refunded, customer not refunded. Right? There's potential termination points for this process. And so, and I know a few of you kind of did this, where it's like, am I going to go to work today? No, process ends here. Right? It did, process ended. You're not going to work, so process ends here. And so you can do the same thing in your business. And so the resources will always just be the tool, the package, the thing that helps them action that. It's the blueprint for you, if you like, of going, okay, cool. So when I go to write this procedure, here's the action. It's, refund them. Or you've also now know that there's a resource of a policy. Okay, I need to write that policy. And I know that there's a resource of a template of how to, like one of the responses in a refund might be notify client that we can't process their refund. Resource might be canned response of how to say that. Email template. Does this make sense? So I want to know, what did you learn? What were some of the learnings? What did you take away from that exercise about building systems and, more importantly, processes in your business? Who wants to share? Keep it simple? Yeah, keep it simple. And you were one of the ones that was saying, oh, what's the difference? Is it clearer for you now?
Oh, yeah, very simple.
How would you define the difference? What was the kind of turning point for you?
One's like a bird's eye and one's like an eagle eye.
Funny. How funny is that? One's a bird's eye, one's an eagle eye. funny about that.
Detail. Yeah, no.
Yeah. One's more detailed and one's kind of higher level. It doesn't have to have all the different steps. That's going to fall into the procedure. Yeah, absolutely. Perfect. Thank you. What else? What else did you notice, learn, realize? How much you do before you go to work. Yeah, absolutely.
The resources.
The resources. Tell me about that. What did you learn?
Just the resources required to perform whatever task, and then you can actually just have them as a separate thing where people can actually go to and actually say, well, we need these resources for the task.
Yeah, the resources for the tasks. You're identifying what are the things that you need to create or have or provide.
Yeah, that's right.
So while I was telling you, start with on any of them, whichever one's going to give you the biggest impact for the least amount of effort. That's kind of my mantra in life, to be honest. How do I get the biggest result with the least amount of effort? I'm Gen Y, I'm lazy. So start with that. But then when you're going to be more strategic, when you've now got some more time and you're able to be strategic, where I would start and where I often do start is on the process. Because you may have noticed now that the process ends up giving you the blueprint of here's the policies I need, here's the procedures I need to create, and here's the packages I'll need to create. It's the starting point. Okay? But if there's a more urgent thing in your business, I would just start with the thing that will free you up the most time. Okay? Any other observations, lessons, learnings from that? Want to share?
Just break down the process so that you start and very basic thing, you just break it down into steps so it's all so overwhelming.
Yeah, did anyone else find it really interesting how you could just break it down? Yeah? Breaking it down into simple steps. There's one of my, I can't remember who said it, I don't remember. There's a great saying that I love, and it's basically, nothing is complex once you break it down into little chunks. Nothing. Right? Even things that anyone would look at and go, brain surgery or something, you go, oh, that's so complex. But if you broke it down into the process and then you had procedures, now you might not want somebody doing it, but could someone potentially attempt it without having the skills? Yeah, because if it's broken down to enough little chunks, it just is about taking the next step, the next step, the next step, which is our goal in our business. Awesome. So we're finishing up. It's the end of the day. What I want you to do is at your tables, I want you to discuss and make a decision. What's one process that you can build for your business? One process. You can do this, go and get stickies, or you can use a tool like Lucid Charts, okay, which is an online platform, which I think starts for free. And you can map this kind of stuff out. But pick one process for your business. Okay, I'm going to give you 30 seconds to make that decision, and then share it with your table. Okay, go. Thanks, guys. Thank you. So now you've decided which process you're going to create. I want you to make one more decision before we completely finish for the day. Or I hand it back to Stephen. What is the first single step you can make towards creating that? What is the first step? Pretend that you've got a process to creating this process. What's the first step? What's the first action or decision you need to make? Decide where it starts. Awesome. Where it's going to finish. Awesome. So what are you going to do? What decision are you going to make? What are you going to do? Make a note of that and do it. Make the decision. And if it's an action that go to Officeworks to buy stickies, well then write that down and make sure you do that first thing you get a chance to. Okay? Write it down. What's the first decision? If it's a decision, just make it right now. If it's an action, make a note of it so you can do it. And then you're on your way. You're starting to build a new process for your business, and you're done. So yeah, that's it for me. I'm going to hand back to Stephen, and I'll see some of you at dinner.
Alrighty, big round of applause for Carl, guys. Awesome, man. Thank you very much. He is the rock star that is Carl Taylor. It's pretty good, huh? Yeah. What did we learn? Okay, that's broad. Let's see if we can...
to examine your policies and procedures in the office and make yourself abundantly clear to yourself.
Yeah, good. That works. Thanks, Theo. You laughed all the way through that. I like it. What else? What'd you learn?
Just
doesn't have to be hard.
Doesn't have to be hard, Karen. No, Karen. Karen. No, it doesn't. It can be simple. It is. Yeah, what else?
I can examine some of the processes and procedures that we've got in place now and see if they still apply.
Yeah.
For us, for me personally, was we've got all these great resources and templates that we've been putting together, but it's not actually in the system. And we've got Google sites that are on apps.
Yes.
Let's just put them together.
Put them in
That's
the
sort of-
vehicle.
Yeah, mate.
Yeah, good.
Literally, tie it all together.
Great. Perfect. Excellent. All right, well, it's been a good day today. Once again, big round of applause for Carl. We love him.